Hi guys, it's Amy. Welcome to my channel, Strength Reversed. If this is your first time at my channel, welcome. And if you've been here before, thank you. I appreciate all of you taking the time to spend here with me talking about tarot. So I made it through the last day of school. And hello summer, where time and space have no meaning for me. So I just have a couple more days of post-planning in my classroom, and then I'm looking forward to recharging. During the summer, I get this huge download about school, and before that starts, I was lazing around this weekend, and I was looking through an old tarot journal, and I came across an entry dated November of 2014, and it was titled Tarot Happiness, and it was a list of all of the little extra things about tarot that kind of bring me joy. And I read through it and added a few more. And these are just the little I mean, I'm sure you're here because you enjoy reading tarot cards or talking about tarot cards. And you know, when you find a $10 bill in a pocket of a coat or something and you have no idea how long it's been there or how it got there. It's just free money from the universe. That's what this is. It's like free joy from the universe. It's the icing on the tarot cake. And there are 16 things that bring me tarot happiness. Trigger warning, none of them are purchasing a new deck. I'm just putting that out there. So I'm sure you probably share some common tarot happiness with the things on my list. And if not, maybe you can find some and share them with me. Okay, let's get started. Number 1 of tarot happiness is resetting the deck. This to me is such a simple pleasure. You can do it anywhere really. Watching TV. It's just something mindless when you want to spend time with your deck, but you're not doing a reading. Oh, here's the penis card. I think you can get lots of information from the deck and kind of bond with it and make friends with it, even when you're not doing a formal reading. And afterward, it feels kind of refreshing. I always do the piles in this order: Swords, Wands, Cups, Pentacles, and then I put the majors on top. And then, of course, I'll go through each pile and put them in order. And I just feel like it kind of makes the energy in the deck right again. Number 2 is flipping through a deck just to look at the pictures. And I found this deck. I'm not an oracle person, you know, but I found this deck. I don't like the title, but I love the cards, and they're this really thick. This just makes me happy right here. These thick, buttery, velvety cards. And I like to just flip through them. This is a good card for the summer. Unplug. That's cute. Spruce up your nest. It's fun just to go through and look at them. You don't have to use cards for a reading. Confidence. So that's number 2. Number 3 is when your favorite deck gets that really soft, feathery, worn-in feeling. This is my Robin Wood, and it's so well loved. It was my very first deck. I've had it for over 20 years, and it just has a different feeling than my other decks. It's like, I don't know how to explain that feeling, but a worn-in deck, nothing's better than that, right? Number 4 is finding a spread that you really like that you forgot about. I found one for the 31 Days of Tarot. It was a spread that I made called the Self-Love Spread. And as I was looking through my journals for a spread to include in that challenge, I was pleasantly surprised. I was kind of impressed with myself when I looked at this spread. I forgot that I had made it. I love running across things that I had forgotten about. Number 5 is reading tarot cards with my son. Sometimes he'll pick a card of the day with me, but I just really get a kick out of that, and I enjoy that. Okay, bub, pick a card. Which one is it? 10 of Pentacles. You know what that means? It means you have to clean your room today. Number 6 on my list of tarot happiness is when you tell someone you're a tarot reader and they express genuine interest instead of making the face and saying something completely stupid. That's a rare moment, right? I know you've experienced that. Number 7 is when a card that I have lost finds its way home and back to the deck. And I made a video about this. I'm going to shamelessly plug it somewhere here. This is an interesting phenomenon. It's happened to me several times. And sometimes I just know that a card's floating around out there and that it's going to find its way home. And when it does, it's a pretty happy feeling. Number 8 is being in the zone when you're giving a tarot reading. That's an awesome feeling when you're in the middle of a reading and you just know it's flowing, the messages are coming to you, you know you're right on. Sometimes when this happens, I actually feel, I start sweating, like it's almost like when you do Reiki or something and you start sweating, like there's a lot of energy happening. The energy's flowing, and that's kind of a high. Number 9, now this is not buying a deck, but this is when you find a deck or a book at a garage sale or a thrift store, or when someone gives you one as a gift. That's a moment of pure tarot joy. Michael got me this for Christmas, the Japa Reads Tarot, and it's not a deck that I would have picked out for myself, which makes it really cool. But I've grown to love it. It's my deck that I'm using for June. I'm kind of focusing on it. It's been calling to me for a while. And it was just a nice surprise, a nice treat. And that's always, you know, it's kind of a high when you find anything great at a thrift store or a garage sale, right? And you pay hardly anything for it. And it's something you really, really wanted. Number 10 is going with your gut in a tarot reading, even though it's not making sense to you, and having the querent say, wow, you were really right. That was spot on. And there's a bonus here if they're making that like blank face stare at you while you're saying something that sounds completely crazy to you. And then at the end, they're like, wow, that was amazing. And you thought for sure they were looking at you like you were crazy. That's like tarot bliss. Number 11 is when you pick up a deck that hasn't spoken to you in a long time and it finally starts talking. I started with the Robin Wood, which is totally weight-based, but I had the Rider-Waite deck, and for many years it just did not speak to me. I don't know what it was. I just could not get it. But then, it took several years, and then suddenly it just kind of clicked and opened up. That's a really good feeling, let me tell you. The 12th item on my list of tarot happiness is the feeling of a deck that's been charging under the full moon. I don't do this every month, but I do usually I see what decks call to me, and then I put them on my back porch with this crystal, or I put them actually sometimes on the dashboard of my car so that they really get a lot of moonlight. And there's just something like special about that feeling when they're fully charged. Number 13, this is something that brings me a lot of tarot happiness, but I do this in secret. And not really like in front of people, but I think it's the Scorpio in me. I like a dramatic atmosphere. And so once in a while, I have a little fun by putting on some bright red lipstick when I read tarot cards, maybe wearing a fun flashy ring. It kind of like creates a certain mood, or maybe a false sense of confidence. An inflated self-confidence maybe is what it creates. But I like to sometimes do that, and it does make me happy. Bonus if you wear like dramatic earrings that you would never wear out of the house. Okay, I'm seeing something in my future. I see a tall, dark, handsome man named Michael taking me to dinner at my favorite restaurant. Red lipstick, you should try it. Number 14 on the list is that moment when the meaning of a card suddenly becomes clear to you and you never forget it. I've had this experience with lots of cards, but one of them is the 8 of Cups. And I know exactly the situation where this became clear. It was watching a friend deal with kind of a major issue, and it just sort of clicked for me that this was the card that pertained to the situation, where this was being an adult. This was walking away from something that they cared about, doing what was good for you and not necessarily what you wanted. And it was just kind of like this ding moment where this light bulb came on over my head, and I haven't forgotten it since. This card just kind of like, I feel like I totally understand this card. Number 15 is enjoying a nice tarot book while drinking a cup of coffee. You get a bonus if there's a candle going, and a double bonus if it's raining. And the final item on the list, number 16, is looking back through old tarot journals. Once in a while, I'll get kind of the urge to do this. I don't know where it comes from, but I'll look back and I'm amazed at what I find. It makes me feel good about myself. I see how much I've grown and changed, and, you know, that this too shall pass. You know, it's a good reminder. This is one of my first journals, and this is my reading that I did about the World Trade Center attack. September 11th, 2001. I have found amazing things that I had completely forgotten about, that I asked the cards, and it's so interesting to look back with a new perspective. That's kind of a cool thing, when you let a little time pass and then you look back through an old journal. Well, thanks you guys. So those are 16 things that bring me tarot happiness, and I'm sure you probably have experienced some of those and have your own ways that you have tarot happiness. I'd love to hear about them. But thanks so much for watching. I appreciate all of you. Thank you.